What is the logic that sex gets the shitty graveyard slot that nobody else wants and everything else gets a better time slot? The truth is probably it's not just a silly mistake. When we lift that floorboard, we often discover a very small, fixable and fatal mistake that most couples make that totally has the power to destroy your sex life. With it, maybe your relationship, and it's so easy to fix. So I have worked for over 20 years with couples, helping them to take their sex life to a new level. When people come to work with me, I normally start with auditing their sex life, and practically every time I ask them one question: when do you have sex? The answer most of the time: before sleep. We are busy, lots of things to do, we go to bed getting ready for sleep, and normally somebody initiates, then we do X, Y, Z, and then we sleep. And that's the sex life. You are tired, you probably don't even want sex. You can't relax into sex because you will fall asleep. You have to do something very physical, mechanical, just to keep awake. Your body is tired and not very responsive. More importantly, your mind is tired, so you can't really be here, you can't really feel each other or yourself. You don't have the mental and emotional presence for that. You try to rush through sex just to get it done because you're worried about losing too much sleep. The current signal for sex being done is that somebody comes, so you try to make that happen as soon as possible and go to sleep, right? Look, first of all, you're not going to create any kind of quality of sexual energy, and you'll probably have sex that feels so mechanical and off-putting and functional that your sex life may very well stop, with the effect on your relationship. You're basically putting sex into the graveyard shift in your life. You know, the slot that nobody wants, the shittiest slot remaining, and you just throw sex there. So I will explain first of all what is the solution. As I explain, I am sure you will be coming up with but your excuses. Please don't worry, heard it a million times, and I will address them later. First of all, what should you do? You have to reframe your sex life. It's not a job just to tick off, just to get it done, because then you might as well not have sex at all. Your sex in your relationship is the time that you spend together in that field of really nice sexual energy. Being nourished, being enriched by it, sharing physical love, which is really powerful for both of you, and you do it because it's really important to you. Without it, your relationship will suffer or possibly even break down. And it's really important that it brings you quality, not some impressive performance and achievement, that's all crap, but a real sense of nourishment with that energy, that well-being, that love, that connection, yeah? So look, first of all, what is the point of doing that right before sleep? It's like doing exercise or eating right before sleep. This is an amazing energy that is meant to be used and felt with you after sex, and especially with each other. So you want to have sex with some of the day left after it, even a little bit, so you can enjoy that sense of being enriched and being in love with each other. And then you can go and do your remaining things having been nourished by sex together. And secondly, sex is not a throwaway thing just to get it done quickly, half-assed. We want to bring our presence, our love, to create that sexual energy together. For that, you simply need to be awake. The immediate thing that people come up with: we don't have any time until it's 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock whenever you go to sleep, yeah? I'm sorry, bullshit. First of all, you don't need a lot of time. You actually need 20 minutes minimum. Open-ended. What I mean is that it's not always going to be 20 minutes. Sometimes you don't have that hard stop and you can actually afford to spend time together for another 10-20 minutes, yeah? Other times you will know upfront that you will have a longer time slot, but generally you can aim at 20 minutes minimum, open-ended. You don't have to do the full performative job. You remain flexible. There are different ways in which your energy will flow and what you can do in that 20 minutes. And you can maximize that time with the right effective practice to create sexual energy really well. So your 20 minutes are going to be equivalent to 2 hours of mediocre sex. That is a separate topic. It's not something I could put in this video. I specialize in teaching couples specific practices, different kinds of sex, to create that flexibility to keep your sex life relaxed, but also all the skills to maximize and enhance every minute of sex to get a lot more out of it. So that's a whole practice. There's a bunch of things to it. I teach it in consultancy. Also, it is all in my Holistic Sex online course. So that really helps. But with whatever you do now, you can still do a great 20 minutes open-ended out of it, I'm sure. And it's not even every day. So look, anybody can find this kind of time. It's all rubbish that you need to have sex for hours to make it really good. It can be super, super potent in 20 minutes open-ended. So reframe your sex this way. And now we come to practicalities. When in the day should that happen? If you're a bit luckier than most people and you have some flexibility with your hours during the day, then you should definitely catch that opportunity. But of course, I know that most people work all day long, so just don't have it right before sleep. Have it in the early evening if you can. If not, then not the last thing at night. night, have it an hour or two before sleep. You'll be awake enough and you can enjoy being with that energy afterwards. Do your essential chores, then have some time for sex, then finish up whatever you still have to do. Or do your downtime things, whatever you like, being on your phone, watching TV. If you haven't seen my recent video on desire, then watch that, because people expect that sex needs to happen spontaneously out of the blue. It doesn't. You can just make space, connect, and create really amazing sexual energy. Waiting for spontaneous sex, say goodbye to your sex life. Now, can you commit now to nourishing your relationship more with that sexual energy, love, and connection? I want you to commit to it now. Please like this video. I'd really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. Drop in the comments at what time do you have sex? What is your solution? So now, the time for your excuses. Oh, but we're so busy, there's so much to do, we don't have time until, it's 10 o'clock and we are so tired. Oh, but the children are always around and they only go to sleep at 10 or 11 or whatever. Let's deal with the children first. It is true that there is a particular phase where children are of a certain age and it's just a blackout in your sex life over that period. But that impossibility is a relatively limited period, only for a certain age of your children. I say from experience with many couples who wanted to make their sex life work, if you want to, you can make it work with children. With such a small time that you need, 20 minutes open-ended, you can make it work without going out to a hotel at home. Educate your children that mom and dad will have some private time sometimes. There's a good old classic of having a lock on your bedroom door. There's working around the children's schedule when they're not around, when they are at home but they're minding themselves. Your family is important, but your family also includes you two being together and staying connected as a couple sexually. That's crucial for your family. So build that in as family time. And then there is, we don't have time because there is so much to do until, 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Nobody just has time for anything. We always make time for things that matter. If your doctor tells you need to do an X amount of exercise, you will build that in. Your relationship needs to be nourished with your sex life so it doesn't die, so it doesn't fall apart, so you don't have that sexual disconnect. The number one reason why couples break up and families fall apart, there will be some chores that you feel you really have to do. There will be some things you do for your own well-being, like, cooking or exercise. There will be things that are frankly not essential. A bit of relaxing, a bit of watching TV, scrolling on your phone. Are they all more important than keeping your relationship and the person you love and the mother, father of your children and your family staying together? What is the logic that sex gets the shitty graveyard slot that nobody else wants and everything else gets a better time slot? So I need you to reflect on that. Make it happen. Make your choices. Shave time off other things and you don't need a lot of time. And if you're spending 100% of your time on fully essential things, which I really doubt, then those essential things stand compared to keeping your family and your relationship together, which is also pretty essential. Now, don't do this as a chore, another thing on the list. My tip is welcome and embrace it as a nourishing break in your day. It's your time to switch off from other stuff, to bathe in that wonderful energy and love and connection. It's a nice thing to do for a little bit. Look forward to it and reflect on how it makes you feel afterwards. It brings quality of life. But if you go a bit deeper, the truth is probably that it's not just a silly mistake, and you don't really think that your sex life is not important to you. When we have this seemingly silly issue that we're having sex simply at the wrong time of the day, when we lift that floorboard, we often discover a foundation that needs redoing. A host of actually big problems in your sex life that will destroy your sex life in the end anyway. And often what happens is those problems that I often talk about, they manifest in you avoiding sex or not prioritizing it or not thinking much of it. Maybe your sex is just not very enriching and you don't feel that real nourishment and love and connection that makes you feel great afterwards. Because maybe your sex is mechanical, routine. So it's hard to say if it's the chicken or the egg. Is your sex so functional because it is in the graveyard slot? Or did it get shifted into the graveyard slot because it wasn't bringing much? So perhaps the real solution here is to change how sex is and what it brings to you. That it can really nourish you deeply, and you can totally do that. Anybody can do that. Or maybe your sex life doesn't have flexibility. It always feels like you need a lot of time to make sex good. Maybe it needs a lot of energy, it's hard work, and so that's why you avoid it. And it really doesn't have to be like this. It's about enhancing and maximizing every moment to give you more. And it's about relaxing into the flexibility of different kinds of sexual things you can do for different energy levels, but they're always an experience that really nourishes you with that really good sexual energy, love, and connection. As I mentioned, I specialize in this because I think this kind of flexibility is the key to a sustainable sex life. Now, I can't tell you here how to build your whole sex life. I am a teacher, and as a teacher, I'm aware of the process. There's a bunch of skills and different kinds of sex that are essential. There is a step-by-step process to develop it properly. That is all in my Holistic Sex if you're interested. The full solution, every practice you need, and the full process to implement it, so making sex fit into a better time in your life, will raise some important questions probably. It will prompt you to solve sex, to find sex that brings you a lot more, and then your life will change, your relationship will flourish, flourish. You will experience a lot more in life and together, all from the very small question, when do you have sex? But I hope this video has shed light onto your timing problem, and you will reflect on your sex life and you will reframe it.